Once, during one cold winter evening, a 16-year-old girl was at home alone and was watching TV. Her parents went to their friends to celebrate a holiday. It was snowing the whole day, but the girl felt well and cozy sitting in the living room, covered with a warm blanket. Her parents were not home till midnight, and she was kind of nervous. The girl didn't want to call them so that they didn't think she wasn't able to take care of herself. The TV was in the corner of the room, near the big window. She was watching another film when she suddenly noticed something moving in the window. In the darkness among the falling snow, she discerned the figure of a man walking in her direction. When he was a bit closer to her, she saw his face. It was covered with scars. The lips were stretched in an evil smile. Having been frightened, the girl froze, not daring to move. The man stood, looking silently at her through the window. Then, suddenly, he put his hand in his pocket and pulled something out. It was a knife. Not being able to bear it anymore, the girl grabbed the phone from the table near the sofa, dialed the police number, and held her breath, waiting for an answer. "There's a man outside my window," whispered the girl, not moving her eyes from the creepy guest. "He has the knife. Please, come here as fast as possible. My address..." She was sitting still, and minutes passed by. The man outside the window was still staying there, looking directly at her. Finally, the girl heard the sounds of a police car siren. The police began knocking on the door. The girl ran to the door and let the police enter the house. They told her that they didn't see anybody near the house and didn't find any footprints. "It can't be so," said the girl, pointing at the window. "He was just standing there when you knocked. You should have noticed him." "It's impossible," said the police officer. "No one was there, and the snow was not damaged. If somebody had been there, he would have left distinct footprints in such snow." "But I saw him with my own eyes," insisted the girl. "You know, sometimes your eyes can play a trick on you," grinned a police officer. "Maybe you watch too many movies." The police were already going to leave when suddenly, one of the police officers noticed something wrong. He leaned and walked around the sofa on which the girl was sitting. Wet footprints and an abandoned knife were on the carpet behind the sofa. "You saw a man, but he was not outside the window," said the officer. "You were looking at his reflection. All this time he stood 2 steps behind you." A small girl lived with her dad. They had wonderful relationships. Once, a dad was going to stay at work a bit longer and said that he would return home late. The girl had been waiting for him for a long time, but after all, she went to bed. She had a strange dream. Her dad was standing on the other side of a busy highway and shouting something. She barely heard the words. "Don't open the door." And then the girl woke up because of the doorbell. She jumped out of bed, ran to the door, looked through the peephole, and saw the face of her dad. The girl was already going to open the door when she remembered the dream, and the face of the dad was strange. She stayed still. The bell was ringing again. "Daddy? Daddy, answer me! Is there somebody with you? Daddy, why don't you answer? I will not open the door until you answer to me." The bell was ringing and ringing, but the dad didn't say anything. The girl was sitting curled up in the corner of the hall. It was happening for about an hour, and the girl slowly fell asleep. It was a sunrise when she woke up and understood that nobody was ringing anymore. She crept up to the door and looked again through the peephole. Her dad was still there outside the door. He was looking directly at her. The girl cautiously opened the door and screamed. The head of her father was hammered to the door at the level of the peephole. There was a note on the doorbell that had only 2 words. "Clever girl." I got a new job and had to look for a new flat that would be closer to it in order not to spend a lot of time commuting. I quickly found a suitable variant, negotiated an agreement, and moved in. The flat was good, and I would live in it now if it weren't for one situation. The case is that I have two phones, one for private communication and one for work. Once, sitting at work when the time was coming for lunch, I found out that I didn't have my second phone. I decided that I had lost it somewhere on the way to work and started calling, hoping to get luck. I dialed a number and then, in the blink of an eye, someone answered. "Hello? Do you hear me?" I said. Nobody answered. I heard only someone's breathing. "Hello? Do you hear me?" I asked again. And then someone answered with a hoarse voice. "Here." And then, "Hang up." After that, although I called a lot of times, nobody answered. I was, of course, disappointed. Obviously, somebody decided to keep it to themselves. Bye, my phone. That day, I was working longer than usual and came home late. I entered my flat, had dinner, and turned on the TV. And then suddenly, I saw that the phone was lying on the table. I was taken aback, took it in my hands, and saw 16 missed calls, and one received that took 22 seconds. My daytime call also took 22 seconds. It was a moment when I decided to move out again.